Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about the most expensive, most valuable, phrase it how you will, cards from Terastal Festival. The set is out now in Japan, cards are being bought and sold. We've got our top 10 list of the most sought after cards, and at the risk of sounding a little bit like those websites we all don't like, you won't believe what's number one. Okay, you probably will. However, this is a list which looks a little bit different to what I was expecting. So coming in at number 8 to 10, we've got the Sylveon, Glaceon, and Espeon Master Ball Holo, all of which are coming in at around about 6,000 yen. Which crucially makes it just a tiny bit above the price of a booster box, which is 5,500 yen. 6,000 yen, you're basically talking $40. Almost exactly $40. Now, the image I've got on the screen is of the Pokeball Holos, just because we've got nice proper clear scans of them and the Master Ball ones are a pain to get decent pictures. But remember, these are the Master Ball, not the Pokeball Holos. Now, one thing we learned when this set actually released is that the Master Ball Holos are not a guaranteed one per box. You will get 3 Pokeball Holos in the set, and one of them could be a Master Ball Holo, but it doesn't have to be. When you buy a box, you'll get 3. It could be 2 Pokeball, 1 Master Ball, but it could also just be 3 Pokeball. So the Master Ball alone are less than 1 per box. And then we've got something along the lines of 150-ish different versions of these that are available, and that will kind of tell you what you need to know. It's just shy of 150, but it's not a million miles away. And the point is, these are very hard to pull. And now we've got 3 specific evolutions here that are very popular. Your Sylveon, your Glaceon, and your Espeon. And they all come up at around 6,000 yen. What is also interesting, the Gen 1 evolutions, your Jolteon, your Vaporeon, and your Flareon, they don't make the list here. Now, they're pretty close, but they don't quite make the list, and that's pretty important. They are the 3 least sought after ones, although again, they're not very far away. So there's your 8 to 10. By the way, it's not about playability here. It's just, whoa, Master Ball evolutions, they're really rare, everybody wants them. Coming in at number 7, we've got the Gold Pikachu. Now, of course, we knew these gold cards were coming. We'd seen the listings and such. You know, we'd seen the press release in English, knowing that these are coming. But we hadn't actually seen them until the other day when this finally came out. You know, the set came out and we actually got to see them. And one of the cool things here is this is the only gold one on there. The gold as a whole are actually not that expensive. They're pretty reasonable, with the exception of the Pikachu. The Pikachu is just an outlier in basically every possible way. Now, this is, again, about 6,000 yen, so about $40, but it does tend to be trending higher than those Master Ball Holos I showed you a moment ago. And essentially what we've got here is it's Pikachu, and everybody loves Pikachu, and it's a gold card, the pull rates of which are pretty low, if we're being honest, and it's actually a really playable card. Like, we've got a bunch of other versions of this Pikachu in Surging Sparks, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to end up being more popular, but even if this isn't the best version of this particular card, it's still this card. And it's still Pikachu, and it's still one that I think people are going to be very after. This is not a card I expect to crash and burn in value or anything like that as time goes by. It's Pikachu, it's rare, it's playable, you add it all up together, this one makes a bunch of sense. In at number 6, we've got the Espeon Special Illustration Rare, which comes in at about 6,500 yen. So here you're talking about $43, just a tiny little tick up here. And, I mean, look, we love Espeon. The Master Ball was really cool a minute ago. Well, here we've got the Special Illustration Rare. Although do remember, the Special Illustration Rare is based, it's an alternate art version of the EX, not the regular. And essentially, Espeon's just popular. Like, the card as a whole is fine, but when we get to this kind of list, it's not based on playability. Like, the Flareon is phenomenal. Flareon ain't getting on this list. And it's not because the Flareon doesn't look cool, it's not because we don't like the art, it's because Flareon is not the same level of popularity as Espeon. Essentially, the majority of this list is just an Eeveelution's popularity contest, and Espeon is winning that quite nicely. The Gen 1 Eeveelutions, feel free to be sad about this, they're not winning that popularity contest, ladies and gentlemen. They're not coming in. If I go and pull, I got 5 boxes that are currently in the post, winging their way to me. If I manage to get one of these in my box, one of the Flareon, I'm going to be delighted. But I'm afraid it's not quite at the same level. People love Espeon. In at number 5, we've got the Master Ball Eevee coming in at about 7,000 yen. Yes, you might notice we are just creeping up here. This is about $47. And it's Eevee. Like, we love the Eeveelutions, but we also love Eevee. And that's what we've got here. We've got an Eevee. It's a Master Ball Holo, which is very, very rare. And now this actually is the super playable Eevee that lets you evolve on your first turn or the turn you play the Eevee. It's a really good Eevee. It is, frankly, the optimal Eevee, which we like. But again, I really don't think we're looking at a case of playability here for the Eevee. I think it's just everybody loves Eevee, and this is an extremely cool version thereof. In at number 4, we've got the Sylveon Master Ball Holo. Now, this is going to be a bit of a theme for the last few slots in this list. Sylveon is popular. Not the most popular Eeveelution. The Sylveon Master Ball, I should say, is ticked up again a little bit to 8,000 yen, which comes in at about $53. The most popular Eevee, you all know what it is. We'll get there in a second. But Sylveon is second. The second most popular of the Eeveelutions. So, having the Master Ball Holo here is pretty nice. Again, it's just a regular Sylveon. It's a card which came out a while ago that isn't that good. It's just the Master Ball version thereof, but frankly, that's enough. And then in at number 3 of a slightly bigger jump, we've got the Special Illustration Rare Sylveon, which is coming in at about 10,000 yen, which you're talking about $67. And again, people love Sylveon. Remember, the Sylveon is an alternate art of the one that we just got in Surging Sparks. We know this card is not particularly good or particularly playable. We know that people aren't picking up this Sylveon for playability reasons to put in their deck. We know this Sylveon isn't particularly good. But this Sylveon still becomes the number 3 card in the set, and it's the same reason that the Sylveon Master Ball is the number 4 card in the set. People love Sylveon, and it really is as simple as that. And then we've got in at number 2, we've got the Special Illustration Rare Umbreon coming in at about 32,000 yen. That's about $210 or $213 if you want to be pedantic. Umbreon is the most popular of the Eeveelutions, and I'm telling you all, it's not particularly close. Umbreon is the answer here. And here we got the Special Illustration Rare, which I've told you is going to be the biggest. It's not actually the biggest card in the set, though. We're still at number 2. But it's still the Special Illustration Rare Umbreon. It's still an Umbreon card with a low pull rate that everybody loves and really wants. Make no mistake about it, this is a very big card. And again, we could talk about the playability and how for free energy you discard them all and take a prize, and that's really nice. This is not a card that gets up to number 2 because of playability. It is a popularity contest. But surprisingly for me, as I record this, the number 1 card in the set, the Master Ball Umbreon at 35,000 yen, which is coming in at $233. This is surprising to me, because I kind of assumed the Special Illustration Rare would be more valuable than the Master Ball. And I kind of assumed that the Umbreon Master Ball would be a big deal, don't get me wrong. But by the same token, I kind of assumed people would prefer the Special Illustration. And my take on this, my explanation of this is very simply, I think the Master Ball's probably got a lower pull rate. It's interesting that with Sylveon, they're actually flipped. We saw that number 3 was a special illustration rare, which was 25% higher than the Master Ball at number 4. But here, like I said, the Master Balls, there's just shy of 150 of them. They're not guaranteed per box. And it's Umbreon. It's by far the biggest of the Master Ball. By the way, when you're looking at the Master Ball holos, it's all just Eevees. Like, the Master Ball holos as a whole are cool, don't get me wrong. But if you're looking at Master Ball holos thinking, oh, which are the ones I want to be pulling, it's Eevees. Just focus on Eevees. That's the goal here. So, it's Umbreon. Number 1, number 2 are Umbreon. And we probably could have seen that coming, honestly. Because it's Umbreon. The most popular of the evolutions are themselves extremely popular. So, yeah, there we go. 1 and 2, both Umbreon. Now I've told you. Now you know. Now it's over to you guys. Tell me which cards from this set are particularly exciting to you. Tell me if you picked up any Japanese Terastal Festival or if you're waiting for Prismatic Evolutions in English. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.